Right now on Friends at 5, we're talking about October. It is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and South Carolina has one of the nation's highest rates of deadly violence against women.
That's right. This Saturday, advocates are working to raise awareness with the city of their Columbia's annual walk against domestic violence.
So joining us to talk now about how our community can really stand together against domestic abuse right here in Columbia is none other than our mayor, Daniel Rickenmann. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for bringing awareness to this. This very important issue that we really, we have Awareness Month here in October, but we really need to be talking about it every week.
Yeah,
unfortunately, it's a terrible thing that happens across our state. We're in the top 10 across the country, as a state, which is really not good for domestic violence at all.
Talk to us about how Saturday and the walk really is to increase awareness about the resources that people can take advantage of.
The walk's incredible. It's at 10 a.m., but before then at 9 o'clock, we have all the vendors there. There's a lot of service folks there that you can engage with. My favorite part is actually talking to the people that are there. You got family members, you've got victims, you got advocates all together, sharing stories, but kind of, supporting each other. And it really shows who we are as a community, and that's what's so exciting about it, getting there. But it also gets to the root of the issue that, hey, you're not alone. And you hear stories after stories. I actually had a lady call me from the road today. She's on her way from Charleston coming up. She wanted to be there in support of a friend. And when you hear those stories and you get to meet some of the victims and how they've been able to overcome the situation, they're an inspiration to somebody else, because there's always somebody in that crowd who hasn't yet dealt with that situation. And that one person is going to make a difference. So, as we know, this city is so compassionate as it is. If it's breast cancer, if it's diabetes, if it's domestic violence, whatever it is, we come out and support each other. But this really helps people get the sense of community.
Because it's not just a walk, you're also hearing those voices, which I think is also really important. So for the past couple of years, this obviously isn't the first walk for this, but what can we expect this year? Is there anything different or anything new that people can expect this year?
Well, we have one little thing that I think is symbolic, which is we have a steel palmetto tree that we painted. One side was pink for breast cancer, and people who were survivors and others had the opportunity to mark their little ribbon on it. Now we're going to do the same thing on the other side so that folks can do that. It's something that will be displayed around town. So not only does it create awareness, but they were part of that. I think the biggest thing we'll be hearing from the folks that are there testifying. 2 years ago we had a lady who had been through domestic violence, and a pretty severe case that she went through, and she left there as an older person in her life or in her midlife, and went and got a law degree, and now she's an advocate and an attorney for those victims.
Wow.
And so when you hear that story, I get chills right now thinking about it, but it touches those lives, but also it gets the rest of the community going and realize I can do something to help. There is something I can do. I can talk about it. I can signs. I can let people know about the resources. I can make sure that our young people, when you hear the statistics about how many people in a relationship today have had either verbal or physical abuse, then you start to look at those numbers and go, how is that happening? But it does. It's education, letting people know what's right and what's wrong. And part of that is parents too. There are a lot of parents there. How am I bringing up my kids? What example am I showing them? And am I making them aware of what's not acceptable? And verbal abuse is a big part of domestic violence as well, and we have to think about that.
My last question is, what is your message to anyone at home fighting that silent battle, and they're wondering, I'm hesitant to reach out? What would you say to them?
Oh, I would tell you that there's a great support system here. Sister Care for one, the services that they provide. And hey, if you don't have anything to do tomorrow, come down there, be part of it, bring some toiletry items, everything. We're collecting things as well for Sister Care, but the resources that they have and the ability for them to get you into a safe place so your family can get away from that abuser and have a fresh start.
I love that. So as we wrap up this chat, just give us all those details for tomorrow about the walk.
All right, walk starts at 10 a.m. We'd love for you to come before 10, meet some of the service providers there, mingle around, get to know some of the folks there. Come in groups. It's a symbolic walk around the park there. It's really about us coming together. You're going to see a sea of purple out there. It's going to be a beautiful day. You'll be done and ready to go to the Carolina game, so it's not going to interfere with
There
your
you go.
morning. So come on down. We'd really love to have you.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us. We're going to make sure we get all the information shared on our website. That, of course, is WLTX.com. Stay with us. More to come right here during Friends at 5.